Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
Running away with it, it is not a surprise. The Edmonton Oilers have been voted Canada's best chance to win a Stanley Cup this spring. 60% of respondents saying the Oilers. And then I think it's like 29% say the Toronto Maple Leafs. And then split between the Jets and the Flames, who will meet tonight at Canada Life Centre in Winnipeg. And if you're watching on Bell MTS Cable on Game Plus out there, we talked about it for virtually like the first 30 to 40 minutes of this show, tonight's game. And I'll just re-up. If you can't find the standings or haven't looked at them, if the Jets win tonight, the Flames are done. And don't talk to me about mathematics. It's over. For a variety of reasons. They will be emotionally spent, mathematically pretty much spent, they'll be done. But if they win in regulation, the two teams are tied, and the Flames will have 3 games left. The Jets 4. It's Mondo huge tonight in Winnipeg.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
The number 1 team in the National Hockey League is not a surprise. It's the Boston Bruins. They've got 5 games left to set the record for the best NHL team ever. Number 2, the Carolina Hurricanes. The number 3 team in the NHL right now, the Edmonton Oilers. The 4th best team in the NHL right now is the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm not totally sure what they're doing, but they're resting guys and winning. And the 5th best team, I'm going with the New York Rangers. Don't at me.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show. Welcome to a Football Thursday, as we call it. Don't mind me. I'm just tweeting. And, yeah, it's episode number 975 of your favorite daytime sports talk show. I think we're ready to roll here on Game Plus Television, iHeartRadio, and WQEE on the Fringe Radio Network. The Key, 99.1 FM. The Moose is with us. He is in, I don't know where he is. I asked him where he is, and it's difficult to pin down. Moose, do you want to flip the camera around and show me where you are? I would love to know, frankly. Can you tell the viewers where you're joining us from today?
Yeah, I'll give you a little look. We're in LA today still, off to Palm Springs later this afternoon. So one last show in LA, and then you'll get the golf course views early next week. I promise.
Well, oh, you're there next week too? I thought you were just. Must be nice, eh, Clark? Must be nice.
Hi.
Live studio audience here at Grey Eagle, but they're all watching Masters, and that's fine. You know what? Before we go any further, here's what we got. We got Marc Mueller coming up from the Calgary Stampeders live here at Grey Eagle Resort and Casino, their quarterbacks coach. Then we have Broadway Bernie Nicholls. Everybody smiles when they hear Bernie Nicholls' name. But they got Masters on here. It's our poll question today that I came up with. Thanks for your help on this, Moose, by the way. It is, where is your sports focus this weekend? It's brought to you by Key Auto Group. Key Chevrolet Buick GMC is celebrating its Springtastic event with a 3.49% financing on up to 60 months for the 2023 Buick Envision. Conditions apply. Go to keychev.com for more details. The poll question, where's your sports focus? Hockey, Masters, MLB, or other? And I'll just jump out of this first and say mine is very clearly hockey, and that's NHL, WHL, Junior A, all of that. Moose, you being the golf guy, I feel like it's terrible dragging you away from probably wanting to watch the coverage of round 1 here today. 46% are saying Masters, 42% say hockey, 10% say MLB, and 2% say other. So what are you voting for that?
Yeah, I'm absolutely voting, Masters and hockey 1-2. I think, the Masters out here on the West Coast, it was on at 5:45 in the morning when they started. I didn't catch the beginning of it, but I've been watching this morning a little bit. So, yeah, that'll have my interest, but so will hockey, because these games every night mean so much. So it's hard to turn away.
And we're going to get right into that. But I think, to be honest with you, We're not the Golf Channel, and for anybody that really cares, they're watching that. So we're not going to sit here and talk golf all day. But I want to say this. Vic has written in, we're making an impact, Moose, just in case you didn't know. He says, good day from Winnipeg, where I don't even want to talk about the Jets. LOL. I know Landmark is a sponsor of your show. I went there last night and saw the movie Air, a story about Michael Jordan and Nike. Great cast, good movie. Have a good weekend and happy Easter. That's from Bomber fan Vic, writing us from the Slurpee capital. So thank you for that. And yes, we are having an impact. I love me some Landmark Cinemas. Can you hit the Quick Six show horn, please? Thanks. And we'll stop Mickey Mouse and get down to business. Point one, church bells are to ring today in Humboldt at the same time as the deadly bus crash brought unimaginable tragedy to the small Saskatchewan city 5 years ago today. The bells at St. Augustine Church are to toll 29 times, one for each person who was on the bus carrying the Humboldt Broncos on April 6, 2018. 16 people died, 13 were injured after a transport truck went through a stop sign and into the path of a bus carrying the SJHL team. For the anniversary, the city and members of the Broncos families have organized a tribute service at the Elgar Pedersen Arena for people who wish to pay their respects. The rink is the home of the Broncos and is filled with mementos, banners, and photos. That's my first point. I'm not going to sit here and belabor this. I see people writing in saying what they were doing that day, how it affected them, and that's not what I want to do today. I get upset, obviously, I could give you 6 reasons when it comes to this. Because one is, it's not just the 29 people that were on the bus. There was a lot of people that connected to those folks, some that were with the team that weren't on the bus. It affects a lot of people. There's a lot of people going to be really upset today. And all I want to say is we're thinking of them. Not just the 29, not just the 16. We're thinking of all of them. And when you go through personal tragedy, and God knows I've been through enough myself, it's just nice to know that you're not alone and you have people's support. So that's what I want to say by acknowledging the Humboldt Broncos today. Anything on that, Moose, before we go to last night's action?
Yeah, it's a nice way to sum it up. Just it's a good day to remember, and I appreciate the way you said that.
Thank you. One day or another, people will understand. I do have a way with words. I might be in the right business. Maybe not, as I'm told regularly. Okay, NHL. Hang on, I'm just calling up the, I'm going to vote for NHL. No. The YouTube says NHL, and that wasn't the focus. I meant hockey vote, but that's okay. NHL's leading 35%, because I'll be honest, everybody's riddled with excitement about the major junior playoffs or junior A. They're not even following the NHL, so hockey was my point on that. But anyways, Jack Campbell stopped 27 shots, and Connor McDavid extended his point streak to 13 games with an assist as the Edmonton Oilers defeated the Anaheim Ducks 3-1. The Oils won 6 straight, moved to within a point of top spot in the Pacific Division. Anaheim's dropped 9 straight in regulation. I'm going to move on to the Jets and the Flames in a second, but if you weren't watching, Moose, yesterday I did the top 5, bottom 5 for Bet Regal, and I've got the Oilers moved all the way up to 3rd. I got Boston 1, Carolina 2, Oilers 3. You saw them live the other night, man. How did they look live? I never really got time to ask you.
They're a team, Rod, that could be, and I hate to put this out there in the universe, but they're a team that could be number 1 on your list. That's how good this team is.
Why? Because you're a Leafs fan? Because you're a Leafs fan?
No.
You don't want to put that out there?
Well, just because I hate to put bad karma out there. We have a lot of Oiler fans that watch our show. Canadian team who could win a cup. I don't want to, get the expectations too high, but they're that good. Like, now they've play some really good defensive hockey, and they're getting some goaltending. That's what everybody said was missing. They need to improve their defense. They need to keep pucks out of the net, and their goaltending needs to be better. Well, Stuart Skinner's been good. Jack Campbell came in last night, played well. I talked about yesterday how suffocating they are in the neutral zone. They're playing with great structure. I think this team is poised right now to be in as good a position as I've ever seen them to go on a run in the playoffs.
Marc Mueller is in the building, everybody. It's the stairs to the right, Mark. You knew that he would show up early and ready to go. The member of hockey's royal family, Marc Mueller, coming up later on here in hour 1 on a Football Thursday, which, by the way, everybody, slow your roll. We'll get to football, but this is the Quick Six show topics here and the warm-up. Travis Peters writes in, he says, kudos, Rod, well said. Thank you, Travis. I did rehearse it a little bit in my mind, what I was going to talk about with the Humboldt Broncos today. John Ohm in Winnipeg. Ohm says, rest in peace, Broncos. For sure, and they are. Jack Fulton in Vulcan, Alberta. You can have a seat on the couch. We'll be analyzing you later, Mark. Make yourself at home. You know the look, Moose. You wish you were here, don't you, Moose? This is the best play.
You know I do, right?
Jack Fulton says the WHL is the best hockey in the world. Nothing tops it in my mind. I agree. And that's coming up in our Quick Six, what happened in the Dub playoffs last night. Predictably unpredictable. Are you kidding me? I was talking to Serena about it this morning. She's like, what a bizarre series. The Pats and the Blades. Overtime the last two. The road teams won every game. Where does that happen? Junior hockey, baby. But we're not there yet. Jacob Markstrom stopped 34 shots to lead the Calgary Flames past the Winnipeg Jets 3-1. Calgary moved into a tie with Winnipeg for the Western Conference's second wildcard berth with its fifth win in 6 games. The Jets have a game in hand on the Flames, but the Flames have the easier schedule. We'll delve into this for a second. Listen, you would think that the universe or the hockey gods are writing this script of what happened with the Flames going into Winnipeg last night because Jacob Markstrom out-dueled Connor Hellebuck in a goalie battle. I watched it, the whole thing from start to finish, and the Flames weren't perfect. They were giving up scoring chances where they're still playing as a fragile team, like they would turn the puck over and just stop and freeze. It's like, move your feet, boys. They're just so afraid to make a mistake, right? Jonathan Huberdeau. I'm like, is this guy colorblind? Because he gives the puck up 2, 3, 4 times a game. But somehow they overcame some glaring weaknesses, and it was a war. It was a war. There was a lot of scrums. There was a lot of sticks up. There was some blood. It felt like a playoff game. And I'm sitting there going, 82 games is such a flippin' marathon, man. And God bless the fans that stay dialed in for 82 games. It's kind of hard, but you know yourself when it comes to playoffs, that's when it really matters, and every shift is exciting. And that's what happened last night with the Flames. So anyways, I want the Flames to make the playoffs. You were done yesterday, so I don't know if you saw me. You wouldn't have been watching me when I was with Mark Stiles, but I said if the Flames miss the playoffs, I'm not going to lose a minute's sleep, a second sleep. And Mark was like, on days like today, April 6th, the 5-year anniversary of the Humboldt Broncos crash, you realize this is not life and death. It's not to me. If you want to get all wound up with the fortunes of your hockey team and your football team, that's fine. I don't. But I still want the Flames to make the playoffs because, like was it Lou Brown in Major League, Mark? Lou Brown? Yeah, Lou Brown. Well, I'm for wasting sports writers' time. I mixed a little Roy Shivers in there and Chris Jones. But you get what I'm saying. All these guys, they're so negative in this town about the Flames. I want to see the Flames jam it where the sun don't shine. Don't you?
Oh, it'd be great. And it'd be great to see what this team can do with a fresh slate, right? If they get into the playoffs and everything's back to even again and they can forget about the ups and downs of the regular season, I'd love to see what this team's capable of doing, with a bit of new life. So, yeah, I kind of hope they get in. But also, Rod, I don't want to see the Jets miss after the great year that they've had. I'm kind of torn.
The Jets, okay. Mark, do you mind talking hockey when you come on? The guy was a goalie. Mark, not a good goalie. He just pointed out. Listen, there's going to be carnage in one of these two cities in the Bermuda Triangle of the NHL, Winnipeg or Calgary, because one of the two is going to miss the playoffs. And I'm not going to come into this town and be the guy that takes on Eric Francis. My God, he was on top of the world 30 years ago when I was going to college here. He's still on top of the world. I'm not going to challenge Eric Francis on anything because he's the true insider, but he was on the radio yesterday or somewhere saying there's going to be massive carnage with the Flames this summer. I'm like, but what if they make the playoffs and shock the world and go on a run? Not saying he's wrong, but how can you honestly say that? How do you know? And the hockey people don't really like Eric Francis because of those bold statements, but the hockey people all like the Sutters. You know all these things, Darren. You're around those people. They don't want to see Daryl lose his job or Tree or anybody like that. So that's why I want to see the Flames make it. But if they do, then the Jets will suffer. And then what? You can't fire Rick Bowness, I don't think. Were they not dusting off the Jack Adams trophy for him as coach of the year long around, what, Christmas?
Yeah.
So then Kevin Cheveldayoff, the general manager, is going to have a target on him. So that's where the focus will go in 10 days. But, whichever team misses the playoffs. That's all. I mean, you saw people taking a run at me in the Calgary media yesterday for things that I was saying. And I'm like, I don't care, man. I've been called worse by better. I don't know what their problem is. I'm just coming in doing a show. Rich Sutter ripped on a guy on Fan 960 here in Calgary, but the thing is, that guy's in Vancouver hosting the show, talking about the Flames. At least we're here in Calgary. But I'm not trying to pick fights with anybody. I'm just giving my opinion, and it turns out it's rubbing people the wrong way. Who the heck was I? Oh, Jack in Vulcan, Alberta. You've met Jack, right?
Yeah.
He was like, Rod, you should do this, this, and this. This was his ideas. He wasn't being pushy, but I said, Jack, I piss people off without even trying. Why would I try? I'll accomplish that without even trying. Just being me. Anyways, Dub Hub, this will carry over into the next segment, but the Saskatoon Blades edged the Regina Pats 4-3 in overtime Wednesday to tie the series 2-2. The Holy Child tallied twice. And now they're going up to Saskatoon for Game 5 on Friday. In Kelowna, Thomas Milic and the Seattle Thunderbirds are off to the second round. They swept out Kelowna with a 3-0 win last night in Medicine Hat. Ty Nash's third period goal was the winner as Winnipeg swept out the Tigers with a 3-2 win. Rebels beat Calgary here at the Saddledome 6-1. Ben King had 2 for the Rebels. They're up 3-1 in the series. The Moose Jaw Warriors swept out Lethbridge 4-0, which I think I called for. Maybe I said Warriors in 5. Either way, the Warriors are moving on. They won 5-2 last night. And in Kennewick, Washington, where you don't screw with Kennewick cops, Darren. If you ever want to know, don't screw around with Kennewick cops. The Prince George Cougars went in and beat the Americans last night 6-2, and that series is all tied up 2-2. I said it was going to go 7. You got 60 seconds? Your thoughts on the Pats and the Blades, Moose, before we break.
3 straight overtime games. It's just wild. Everybody's eyes are on the series, as they should be, and not just because of Bedard, but because it's now become just tremendous entertainment. You gotta watch every moment of this. So it's far from over. It's probably going to go 7-game.
For our U.S. viewers, you have to understand, and you're watching this, I think, because you like hockey. I said yesterday the whole league's watching this series. The whole country's following what's going on with the Pats and the Blades by virtue of the TSN highlights in SportsCenter. Sportsnet, same thing. It's moving across the National Sports Wire, the news service for all the newspapers. They're following this series closely. And I'm not writing off the Pats, but I will tell you, when they were up 2-0 in the series, the Pats fans thought it was over. I said, this series ain't over. And now it's a best of 3, and they still got the best player in the world. So go, Pats, go. They're God's team for a reason. Football talk coming up with Marc Mueller, but I'm not done our topics. Moose will be with us from Los Angeles. We're here at Grey Eagle. We'll pause briefly on the Game Plus television network, which is TELUS Channel 924 in Alberta, iHeartRadio, and your southern home of sports and talk, 99.1 FM, the K on the Fringe Radio Network.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Casino fancy.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Grey Eagle is the place to be. Another beautiful morning here in the foothills. And by the way, don't miss comedian, actress, producer, and podcaster Whitney Cummings live at the Grey Eagle Event Center on on April 25th. That's a Tuesday. Tickets on sale now at ticketmaster.ca. And I might update you on the poll, which is brought to you by Key Auto Group. Get a new or pre-owned vehicle that fits you at Key Auto Group. They will treat you right every time, and it's all just a click away at keyautogroup.ca. What is your sports focus this weekend? Hockey, Masters, MLB, or other? And they're all, well, on Twitter, they're all saying hockey. Hockey's taking over now, 46% on Twitter, but narrowly over the Masters with 40%. I'm assuming YouTube is the same. The Moose is with us. He's in Los Angeles. It's our Football Thursday, in that it's our final show of the week. My bad. I lined up my favorite Rough Rider ever, Jeff Fairholm, to come in tomorrow, along with Jay McNeil, the Vice President of Business for the Calgary Stampeders. And then it was there's no show Friday. So both those guys are going to be coming in next week. Okay? Yes.
Awesome.
Point 4, Alek Manoah allowed 1 hit over 7 innings as the Toronto Blue Jays defeated the Kansas City Royals 3-0. Manoah allowed 4 walks while fanning 5 for his first win of the season. Vladdy hit his first homer of the year for Toronto. NBA, the Boston Celtics clinched the 2nd seed in the Eastern Conference playoffs with a 97-93 home win over the Toronto Raptors. The two teams will meet Friday in Boston. The Atlanta Hawks were winners, of course, 134-116 over the Washington Wizards. And to the Masters, Corey Connors of Listowel, Ontario, heads the Canadian contingent, teeing off to open the Masters. Connors won the Texas Open last weekend for a second time. The other Canadians include Mackenzie Hughes, Adam Svensson, and Mike Weir. And Moose, I just want to say this. I didn't get your take on this, the Live Golf versus Masters debate. You probably heard Live golfer Kevin Na withdrew from the Masters today due to an undisclosed illness. And I see they're talking about it here in the Grey Eagle. People are writing into our social media going, live golfers are soft. I don't know why people hate them so much, but they do. I guess they just don't like the black hat wearing villain in the Westerns. Because I now want a live golfer to win. Where are you on that?
I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome for the game because of that. You want a live golfer to win. You know, some of the people in the public badly don't. And they want anybody. They said anybody but a live golfer. And I think it's good for the sport. I think it's awesome. I wish this rivalry would grow. But the problem is the players don't want to embrace it. You know, every time you hear the players get interviewed, it's like, no, the media is the ones talking about this problem between PGA and live. All the guys are fine. They talk about how they get along on the range. They get along during the rounds. Everybody's great. When you're just out there, it's just another golfer. I wonder what it will be like come Sunday if you have a live golfer and a PGA golfer coming down in the final group within a shot of each other for the green jacket. I think it's going to be just wild.
You know it'll be bedlam. So, anyways, let's turn it over somewhat to the viewers. Joe Lazito is watching in New York right now, John Lynch's biggest fan. He says, hockey has my attention this weekend. My favorite part of the Masters is when it's over. Be safe out there today. John Frenzy sends his regards. His favorite thing. You know what the best thing about Calgary is, Marc Mueller, according to Lynch? Leaving it. That's from John Lynch. Jeff in Winnipeg. Who is this? Who is writing in here? Oh, yeah, Jeff Cabillas in Winnipeg says, you know what's living rent-free in my head right now? The Eden shot at the World Curling Championships. Unreal. Please stop. Please stop. We're not going to talk curling here, and we're not going to talk golf largely. I mean, we did spend an hour on it the other day with Kevin Smith here. Cool Kevin Smith. But I think about it's can I say it again? It's the Rod Pedersen show. So I feel like Ricky Lake, Phil Donahue, Jerry Springer, Maury Povich, Geraldo Rivera. Imagine if he took questions from the crowd. Or they. Hey, Ricky Lake, what do you think about Stormy Daniels having to repay Donald Trump all those payments? She would say, I'm not following it. I don't care. So I didn't see the Eden shot at the World Curling Championships. I'm sorry. Our rock star of the day yesterday was Robin Brownlee, by the way, of OilersNation.com. I just want to put it out there. And I will tell you that Marc Mueller will be the rock star of the day today. Sorry, Moose. Broadway Bernie Nicholls is coming up later on in hour 2. And I'll just say this, and I feel like turning this over to you with whatever you would like to talk about. But what I'm hearing from, it's growing out here in Alberta. It's growing in Florida amongst the sports fans down there. You know what they really love about this show that I'm hearing the most of? It's the people we have on. They're like, you got Bernie Nicholls on? No way. You got Ron Duguay on? No way. You know what I mean? Guys like that. They haven't heard these guys' names literally in decades. And that's not to say they're irrelevant, but they got something to add. Right? And I love that. I love that.
I think it's cool, you know, getting different people on the air and you know, that nostalgia, because one of the greatest things right now is nostalgia, when you can bring up things that remind you of your past and give you the connection to when you fell in love with the game. And for a lot of our viewers, you know, Bernie Nicholls might be the era where they fell in love with the game of hockey. So bringing him back on the air takes them back to that. So
it's so great.
I think it's really cool.
Having all those guys. Jason in Red Deer writes in, he says, good morning, sports fans and friends. I'm feeling very confident in the Flames' chances, but I'm not going to get cocky, LOL. Oh, the next week is going to be wild for those clubs. I don't think you're going to be back on today, Moose, so I need to get your football thoughts on this, because it is Football Thursday. We have people showed up because we promised we would be talking about it today. There is breaking news out of the Canadian Football League. CFL Hall of Fame receiver Darren Flutie will be added to the Hamilton Tiger Cats Wall of Honor at Tim Hortons Field on August 17th. The team announced today. Flutie, who won a Grey Cup with the Ticats in 1999, will become the 26th person to receive the honor. His number 82 will join the other 25 honorees on the Wall of Honor, which is on the stadium's west side. the now 56-year-old from Manchester, Maryland. I know. Where did the time go? Played 86 games with Hamilton, earning 2 CFL East All-Star nods in 98-99 and a CFL All-Star selection in 1999. In the 99 Grey Cup, Flutie hauled in 6 receptions for 109 yards and 2 touchdowns. Marc Mueller, do you remember it? He was there. Marc Mueller was there. So it gives us something to talk about here. Flutie, who also played for the BC Lions and Edmonton Eskimos, ranks 4th in all-time receiving yards in the CFL and caught more than 1,000 yards in a season 9 times. He went into the Canadian Football Hall of Fame in 2007. He is the guy. I feel like Doug Flutie would be singing "You Are the Wind Beneath My Wings" to his brother Darren. Must have been cold there in my shadow, Darren. The guy had a Hall of Fame career in his own right, and all anybody ever wants to talk about is Doug.
I know.
So this is a big day. This is a big day.
I saw a photo recently of Doug and Darren, and I can't remember what they were doing or where they were, but I saw the photo, and it just took me right back. I mean, Darren Flutie is one of the guys that made me fall in love with the Canadian Football League growing up. You know, it was him and Danny McManus, and obviously those were the Doug Flutie days and whatnot. But yeah, great player, Hall of Famer. This is long overdue for the Ticats to honor him this way. And you're right, what a great player and one of my favorites all time.
Clark, I don't know if you're able to pull up or find, and I'm pulling a fast one on you. Apologize. The CFL Power Rankings. If you can't get them in time before Darren goes, that's fine because I didn't prep you for that. And on the website, or even if you can find the little graphic that they do, couple things. One, I miss the times where I was simply a CFL fan, and I am still a CFL fan. But what I mean is when I didn't know anything, like the rest of the fans right now, they don't know anything, but they just enjoy the players. Like what I mean by that was the 90s. I remember going to Casino Regina, and the Argos were in town, and Doug Flutie happened to be in Casino Regina. So he was walking down that link. You've been there. It's a beautiful casino. And I was like, it's Doug Flutie. He's not that big. You know what I mean? Like that, just to be a fan and be around those guys. That was a wonderful time in the Canadian Football League. Even the other night at the Flames game, they put a video up of Doug Flutie playing for the Stampeders, and the crowd went, ah. I wasn't really paying attention to what was going on because I was deep in conversation, but I miss those times. It was simpler. And then I told you I talked to my buddy Cooper. He's a football guy down in Jackson, Mississippi, and I never get tired of talking to him because he's well, Rod, here's the thing. And then he'll go on this long diatribe about how things stand. And I found the power rankings as much as I can get them up here. Winnipeg 1. Nobody's really arguing with that I've heard. BC Lions 2. And I said, Cooper, what do you think about that? He's like, no. He's like, they can't win without Nathan Rourke. So I don't understand why the BC Lions are second. I almost wonder why if it came out on April Fool. They got the Calgary Stampeders 3rd. Bear with me. Calgary Stampeders 3rd. Argos 4th. Hamilton Tiger Cats 5th. Ottawa 6th. Saskatchewan 7th. Edmonton 8th. And the worst team, the Montreal Alouettes, according to these power rankings. So again, is it April Fools? They got my guy Cody Fajardo there. What do you mean 9th? What do you think about those power rankings?
Some disrespect to the Toronto Argonauts. I never expected that team to be number 1. Winnipeg should still be number 1. They're still the best team. They're still the class of the Canadian Football League. But the Toronto Argonauts absolutely should be number 2 on that list. I mean, yes, McLeod Bethel Thompson stayed in the U.S., went back to the U.S., and he was the leading passer in the league last year. But Chad Kelly won you a Grey Cup, came into that game, and if he plays well, and I know there's some questions around if Chad Kelly can come in and be an everyday starter. But, man, I mean, there's now bulletin board material if you're the Toronto Argonauts, no doubt.
And thank you, Clark, for finding it and throwing it up there. So I feel like we're going to be talking about that through a lot of the program here today. And Marc Mueller is coming in next just in a matter of moments. I said to the guys, we're the only ones talking CFL in April. Are we ahead of the pack, or are we so far behind we think we're ahead? And Clark was like, no, give her. That was from producer Clark. And I said, you know what? It kind of feels refreshing to me to talk football, specifically CFL football, on a Thursday in April. And that's what we're going to do today. But I will tell you, Bernie Nicholls, the Bet Regal's NHL ambassador, is coming up later on in hour 2. So we'll be talking NHL with Broadway Bernie. But Moose, that's it for you. In your time, my best to Leanne. Go enjoy the City of Angels.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.
You too. A member of football's royal family joins us next. Marc Mueller live at Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. We're live on the Game Plus television network. That's channel 924 on TELUS in Alberta and BC. We're also on your southern home of sports and talk, 99.1 FM, WQEE, and the Fringe Radio Network.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Hi, my name is Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino is your gateway to the foothills. There's a live look at it on this Football Thursday. Happy Easter, everybody, by the way. And remember the reason for the season. Dave writes in from Niagara Falls, Ontario. He's watching on Game Plus television. He says, have a nice Easter, guys. Go Jays, go. It's a matinee, by the way, Blue Jays at Kansas City today. And there's more, but I'm going to, well, Brian from Beausejour, Manitoba, watching on Game Plus, writes in. He says, the spring storm has ended in southern Manitoba. However, the storm surrounding the mediocre play of the Winnipeg Jets has not. Burnt by the flames last night. Pun intended. Happy Easter, RP crew. That's from Brian in Beausejour, Manitoba. So we are nationwide, coast to coast. And we bring in live now, as I mentioned, a member of football's royal family, football's first family. Marc Mueller joins us, Calgary Stampeders quarterbacks coach. Mark, is that what it is this year?
Yeah.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here. This is awesome. Thanks to be back on the show for probably the 100th time.
Live, this is only your second time in Calgary.
I mean, with you.
Yeah.
With you, probably the 100th time.
Remember the Marc Mueller show?
I do, yeah. It was awesome.
We were fun. We used to call it the RP bump. Every guy that we brought on to do our own radio show or guest with us ended up moving on in the world. Yeah. You etch.
It was nice.
Never looked back. Yeah. Listen, what a great story, this Darren Flutie thing going on to the Ticats Wall of Fame. So we went into the Canadian Football Hall of Fame in 2007. You were at the 99 Grey Cup. I should have known.
Yeah.
What do you remember about that?
Well, the 99 Grey Cup, it was pretty cool. They were in the Grey Cup in 98 in Winnipeg. And
it was a rematch.
It was a rematch, yeah. Grey Cup rematch. And my grandpa Ron was the head coach, and my uncle Ronnie was the offensive coordinator. And my parents always said if they were in the Grey Cup, we'd go. So I got there on Thursday, and I got to spend the whole week with Ron. And I stayed with him at his hotel room and went back and forth to the practices and the meetings and hung out with him the entire week. And then the game obviously went really well. It was one of the best times of my childhood, for sure. I know my parents always said I should have journaled everything, and I always said, oh, I'll remember, don't worry about it. And I regret that now. Hopefully I can convince my kids to listen to me better.
Which you won't.
I know, better than, I listened to Larry and Lana.
But are you saying that 1999 Grey Cup was the best part, or that whole
week?
Right.
The whole week was awesome. I got to spend it with my grandma and grandpa in the room. I was going to stay with my parents, and the moment I saw there was a pull-out couch, I just pulled it out, and I said, well, I can just stay here. I'm here. So I stayed with them for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and it was a lot of fun.
And how old were you?
I'd have been 10.
10 years old. So, listen, folks, by now, if you're watching the RP show, 975 episodes, you realize this is not like any other sports show anywhere. And that's what makes it great. So I got to say something. For those that don't know, because you didn't know, or the last time you were on, we weren't on the Fringe Radio Network in Georgia and the U.S. South. So his grandfather is a CFL legend, Ron Lancaster, and your father, Larry, is a legend in his house, the Mueller Museum. Good friend of mine. So he used to tell me, your grandfather was the head coach and general manager of the Hamilton Tiger Cats from about, what, 97?
98 to 93, and then he was the GM for, 98 to 03, and then 04, 05.
Right.
And then he came back and coached in 06.
So, when he was a young lad, Mark, being raised in Canada's Queen City, they would ship you out to Hamilton for the summer.
Yeah, like 3 to 4 weeks, see 3-4 games, and then usually it worked out that the team would fly to like Winnipeg or Edmonton, and then they'd pick me up from there. It worked out pretty good.
Right, but you'd come home 35 to 40 pounds heavier.
Well,
that's the story I'm getting
at. That might be a little bit too much, but it's probably at least 10 to 15. I know the guys would treat me well, and if they had McDonald's breakfast, they'd bring it in for me as well. I was sitting there playing 20 to 30 games of cribbage a day and things like that.
Story I heard was Tim Hortons Donuts. That's what I heard.
Yeah, apple pies. McDonald's apple pies were high on the list as well.
Ronnie wasn't fitness, nutrition, not really his thing.
Well, in season and out of season clothes as a player, things like that. Times have changed a bit.
All right, from the viewers, Jack in Vulcan, Alberta. Mark is not just a great coach, but this young man is one of the greatest human beings I know. Go Stamps! Mark is quietly, successfully building his own legacy. From Craig Smith, our director of scouting, says, my regards to Mark. The Smiths did very poorly in the Mueller NCAA bracket. You guys did a bracket?
My mom puts one on, yeah, and I'm not even sure who won. I know I didn't because I got crushed, but one year, like, Bobby Lancaster and Charlotte wins it. It's the family deal. My mom puts it on every year.
How far did you have FAU going in your bracket?
I don't think very far. I went strictly off Ken Palm's rankings because I didn't have time to do any research. And I was leading in most of the pools until Houston lost because I had Houston winning the whole thing.
So I will tell you, just so you know, because here's the thing about Mark. He's more interested in you than talking about himself. That's just you. You've always been that way.
Well, I'm not that interesting.
Well, you're asking me. Yeah, we just talked about you for 10 minutes, Mark. So we're just laughing about FAU, or I am, or he's asking me about Florida. And FAU plays 3.5K from my house in Boca Raton, Florida. And you know how I know? Because you can't get an Uber after an Owls football game, so I run it.
Nice.
So I look it up. So 3.5K. So I'm an FAU fan. But nobody had them going that far in the bracket.
Not even you as a local?
No. But I know next year I'm going to go to the games for sure. I went to Owls football games. I didn't go to basketball games. You love basketball too, don't you?
I like basketball. Yeah. I'm looking forward to going to the Surge games here when they come in May.
See you there, Winsport Arena.
Yes, I live up in Tuscany, so I'll be making sure going. Hopefully, I know Mike Morelli again from the Lancaster connection, so hopefully if he's in town, we'll see everybody there.
Coolest commissioner in sport, and it ain't close.
Great dressed.
Yeah, oh yeah. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, Dear Rod, kindly ask Mr. Mueller, how many quarterbacks besides Mayer and Stevens, Jake Mayer and Tommy Stevens, the Stampeders plan to bring to camp? Thanking you in advance.
Yeah, usually we're somewhere around that 4 to 5, I think, for training camp. And, we also have Chase Litton, who was, went from Marshall. He's on the roster as well. So we had 3, and then usually try to pick up, 1 or 2 more before camp. And it'll be, I think we have a really good room, and we'll continue to build on that over these next couple weeks because camp's in a month, which is crazy to say. But, May 10th is rookie camp, so it's happening fast.
Yeah, it is good. This is this was a good time for you to come down.
Perfect.
Right?
Yeah,
this is, I appreciate it. I'm glad I asked when I had. Hi, Riley. You can come on up and plug these in if you want. Just don't kick my camera. The sound people here now. Wayne in Victoria, BC says, Mark is obviously Ron Lancaster's grandson. He's a class act, just like his grandfather. Your grandfather's advice keeps echoing through my head, and I don't know if I got it from you or your dad or Ronnie himself. But I call it the 1 in 4 jerk rule. It's not actually called jerk.
Yeah.
But to clean it up, you know what I mean? You want to explain? Let's just say
I'm not
jerk.
sure I've heard it.
You can have, these are 1 in 4 people are a jerk.
Really?
Lancaster never told you that?
No.
1 in 4.
Because I was young.
1 in 4. So he said when you're putting together a roster or your locker room, per se, you can have 1 in 4. They can't be the majority of your room. This is years ago. I might have to ask your dad if I have it right.
Yeah,
You never heard that?
No.
What was the best advice from Ronnie?
I ever got?
Yeah. Always ask people, how's the family? That's a good one.
Yeah. Say family, not,
How's your wife?
Yeah, say family. That's enough. That's a for sure one. And when it came to football, it was always about when you stop enjoying driving to the office or driving to work or driving to play, that's your time to move on. Because it's, the CFL, it's a great job, it's a great life, but, it's not like you're doing it for millions of dollars. There's, it's a lot of work for, it's a great life and I love it, but, you have to truly love the game. And once you stop loving it and loving going to work, it's time to move out. And he did it right till he died. So obviously he never stopped loving it. And I've been a part of it every day for my almost 34-year life here. And I hope to be it just like him.
That's amazing. Now you have worked outside sports. I was going to say, you've never worked outside sports. Yeah. You wouldn't realize how that translates to life, but it does translate to life. That's the thing. All the best sports advice translates to life if you ever stop to think about it. Anyways, Marc Mueller is here. He's going to be with us for an hour. We're going to take a timeout and be right back on a Football Thursday Easter edition on the RP Show, live from the Grey Eagle Resort and Casino on the Game Plus Television Network, YouTube, and WQEE 99.1 FM on the Fringe Radio Network.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino.
snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
beat. I gotta hit the beat.
Gotta shine. Smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time. Big time. Big time. Big time.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Back live at Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Get your tickets now for the exciting spring lineup. We mentioned Whitney Cummings earlier. Get ready to sing along with all your favorite REO Speedwagon classic hits. Thursday, May 5th here at Grey Eagle. Tickets on sale at Ticketmaster.ca. Calgary Stampeders quarterbacks coach Marc Mueller is with us, and everybody's enjoying it. They look forward to our football chats in the offseason on Fridays. If you came here looking for hockey, come back next hour. If anything, Bernie Nicholls is going to be with us because we're having a great time talking football today, as are the viewers. Marc Mueller, mentioned we're on the air in Metro Atlanta. It's amazing the synergies and the connections. You were just there.
Yes.
Last weekend. Tell me about the free agent camps down south that you had with the Stampeders.
Yeah, so we flew down on Friday. Brendan Mahoney, our assistant general manager, and myself met Dwayne Cameron, our DB coach and head of Canadian scouting, and John Cook, a regional scout down there in Charlotte. So we'll go to Atlanta, Calgary to Atlanta, Atlanta to Charlotte. And lucky enough, my uncle Bob Lancaster lives in Charlotte, so you've had him on the show.
Yep.
It was good to see him. I haven't seen him. You know, it's crazy. You don't think it's been this long, but I haven't seen him in like 5 or 6 years, you know, which is crazy. You know, he's my uncle, right? But, you know, it's just the way kind of time flies when you got your own stuff going on. And so we did an open tryout in Charlotte on Saturday, and then we drove to Atlanta Saturday night and had an open tryout in Atlanta on Sunday, and then flew back. So it's a whirlwind. It's busy. It's lots of work, but it's worth it to get out there and, you know, and try to find some guys.
What was it, 3, 4, 5 hour drive?
4, but we
Four?
there was some bad traffic and, you know, a little bit of a couple accidents, so we had to kind of take a couple detours, but we had some great driving. Mahoney was driving well.
People just don't understand. People here don't understand what it's like down there.
Oh, I don't, and I was in the back seat, so I don't either.
Oh, really?
But it was different. Yeah.
Well, I want to send a personal shout out right now to Brendan Mahoney. Big fan of the RP show. Is he still?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
And
yeah.
the Silver Fox.
The Silver Fox.
Kelly
That's right.
Rimple. That's his favorite
right, yeah.
guy. So take us inside this. And by the way, Ryan O'Radio, the guy that Mark was asking us how we got on WQEE, he found us. I still don't know why. I thank God shot for that. But I watched his show this morning. It was very entertaining. He watches ours. It's a good deal. But take us inside those free agent camps as much as you can, like from the start of the day to the end of the day, what goes on in between.
Yeah, so you try to get to the field, usually at college or high school fields or some sort of connection. Our organization, Brendan's been doing these for, quite a long time now, right? So you have connections and, if something falls through, you hopefully know people. Like Bobby helped us, find a place after our field fell through in Charlotte. And he's coaching high school, so we were trying to use his field, but they got construction, so we reached out to a buddy. So it's, it takes, it's a lot more work than people think.
What was Atlanta?
Sorry?
What was Atlanta's field?
Atlanta was a high school as well. It's amazing some of these high school fields, how really nice they are and where they are and cool, really cool. Like in Atlanta, the one back show was a whole bunch of trees. Like it was really neat setting. But, you get there about 9, registration's about 9 to 10, 10:30. You register all the players in, you height and weight them, make sure that they are with, what they're listed at, which is, as a person who was listed at 6 feet, 200 and is really 5'9", 220, as a player.
Right.
So you got to make sure that they're doing it right. And then you try to do some physical testing, whether it's, broad jump and shuttles and things like that, 40 times, stuff like that, to just see the athletic ability and see if you know what's been happening with some of these guys. And then you do football drills, real football drills. You try to do one-on-ones. You don't have equipment on, so you try to keep the guys as safe as possible and see guys move, catch the ball. It's lots of fun. It's jammed into about a 5-hour period, but it's it goes by really fast because you're always doing something.
How many players would you have had in each?
Somewhere about 50 or 60 at each spot, which is pretty good. Sometimes you're in the hundreds, sometimes you're a little lower than that, but that it moves pretty smooth around that number.
Every team does it differently, right?
Yes.
Like, so you wouldn't have signed anybody yet out of that? Or, like, do you move on? Do you bring the best to another camp or main camp?
There used to be I'm sure you went down with the Riders at times to the IMG camp.
Yeah.
The IMG doesn't really happen anymore. So it's that overall big mini camp, actually they made it, the rookie camp's bigger now. So it's those, instead of having, so many guys in IMG and then you take them out and you come to rookie camp's bigger. So everyone will come to Calgary, the guys that we pick, and usually you find a couple guys in each stop, and that you're lucky to find them. Then you move on, and everyone kind of looks at them back in Calgary. We film everything, so we can. It's not just going off of guys. I saw him live, or you mix a guy up. So we chart everything, film everything. Our video department does a really good job of getting that stuff in a very timely manner, and then you kind of evaluate them from there.
You're getting spoiled, and it doesn't bother me to say this anymore, but you're getting spoiled working for the Stamps. Because you realize you're working for the Cadillac. You've known that from day one, probably. I think you would struggle to go anywhere else.
I'm lucky to be able to place a place where I can learn from people like
That's what I mean.
Huff and Dave and Brendan Mahoney, who's the assistant commander. Other great coaches that I share an office with, Pat Delmonico. It's an awesome place to be.
Marc Mueller gonna stick around for the big segment in hour 2, and Bernie Nicholls of Bet Regal NHL Great coming up as well from Grey Eagle after this brief pause on Game Plus and WQEE.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Hey, Rod Squad. Now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show. Official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
The number one team in the National Hockey League is not a surprise. It's the Boston Bruins. They've got 5 games left to set the record for the best NHL team ever. Number 2, the Carolina Hurricanes. The number 3 team in the NHL right now, the Edmonton Oilers. The 4th best team in the NHL right now is the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm not totally sure what they're doing, but they're resting guys and winning. And the 5th best team, I'm going with the New York Rangers. Don't at me.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Hour 2 of the RP Show, coming at you live from Calgary's entertainment destination. It is what we're calling a Football Thursday. It's our last show of the week. Happy Easter to everybody. Remember the reason for the season and enjoy it in whatever fashion you do. Now, here for a good time, but not a long time, can we please welcome in the Calgary Stampeders quarterbacks coach Marc Mueller. Known him for a very, very long time, and we're very grateful to have him here today because it's in a quiet time in the CFL calendar. You were just in Atlanta and Charlotte last weekend. Are you done with camps now for a while?
I am, yes. I'm not sure if we have another one as a team, but I'm done, and then it's kind of getting ready for the draft and finishing things up for training camp because we're a month away.
Does it ever really slow down or not?
Not really. We have some time off and around Christmas time in January, but there's stuff you have to be doing. It just isn't meetings and things like that. And then we're back at it usually the Monday after the Super Bowl kind of thing in office, and it's there's always stuff to be done, so you got to stay ahead.
I've got some questions for you, but before we go any further, the poll question today for Key Auto Group is, where is your sports focus this weekend? Is it hockey, Masters, Major League Baseball, or other? Key Chevrolet Buick GMC is celebrating its Springtastic event with a 3.49% financing on up to 60 months for the 2023 Buick Envision. Conditions apply. Go to keychev.com for more details. It's not a shock. My focus is hockey. We're down to the nitty-grit, the last week of the regular season, but the Masters is on day 1. Marc Mueller, how are you voting in the Key Auto Group poll?
I would vote Masters 1 and then hockey second. I think hockey, we still got to, Wednesday or Thursday, right? So there is some more time where the Masters it's done Sunday, and I think it'll be an exciting weekend.
I'll just say this. Are you into the ups and downs of the Flames? You
Yes.
are owned by the same company. So
Yeah.
Anxiety medication.
Yeah, big win.
Flying off the shelves. Yeah,
big win last night. Was fortunate enough they played on a holiday Monday in February, I think it was, and I got to take my daughter Sawyer down there to the game, and she loved it. She got a jersey. She enjoyed the game, and it was awesome because at the start of the game, I kind of tried to distract her maybe because it was loud and stuff like that, look at a phone to get her comfortable, but once the game happened, there was a fight early, there was a goal. She was into it. She watched the whole game, sat on my lap. I thought it was great. It reminded me of going to Pat's games with my dad as a kid.
Pat's Blades 2-2, by the way, going into Game 5 on Friday night, so There's lots going on. It's a fun time of year, and I defy you to tell me this is not the best time of the year, although you might disagree as a football guy. And I will get to your questions, folks. There's a lot. Let me simply ask you this. There was the big rumor out there that you were going to join your hometown Saskatchewan Roughriders this offseason. How close was that to even happening?
It was a great opportunity to take an interview. I'm very thankful for it. And, you never know totally what you're going to do unless you go through the process. And I was happy to go through the process. Those are really good guys in Regina. But I really, really enjoy working with the people I work with here. And I'm really happy to be able to work for Dave and Huff and with all the guys that I've been working with guys for 9 years now, which is crazy. So I'm really happy.
Going through the process, you're right, doesn't hurt. And it's interesting for those that weren't listening last hour. I forgot that you did work outside the sports industry for how long with Molson?
Well, it was 14 months.
Okay, over a year.
January to February, yeah.
But the interesting thing about that was, because I knew you well then, you loved that and you put 100% into that. I don't think you were, when the Calgary Stampeders called you, you weren't sending out resumes, right?
No, it was a cool phone call, and I always think I was in Swift Current or something like that selling beer, and I was fortunate enough to work at Molson, and my career at the University of Regina with the Rams ended in 2012, and Devin Baxter called me, and it was on the day of the Vanier Cup, whatever day that was. Unfortunately, we weren't playing in it, but he called me. He's like, "Hey, what are you doing next week? We'd like to maybe hire you here." I'm like, "All right, that sounds good to me." What do you need me to bring? So it was.
You kind of had to give him a yes on the call, didn't you?
Yeah, and I did. I'm like, "Yeah, probably. I don't have a job, so I'm in." So I said it on the call, and we had lunch, and it started January 1st.
What a story with the great Marc Mueller. Okay, to the viewer questions, and again, it is a Football Thursday. Bernie Nicholls coming up next segment for the hockey fans. We got a lot to talk about with Broadway, but SFU, Simon Fraser University in Vancouver, discontinuing their football program. Massive development in Canadian football. What is your take on it as a Canadian quarterback?
Well, first, it's sad because it's 80 to 100 spots for less now for people to play in Canada, because they probably would have had 100 guys, 80 are probably Canadian. So there's 80 less spots for young men to go play football and have the opportunity to play post-secondary sports like I did. And it's such a positive impact on my life with the Regina Rams. So I think it's sad. I'm not sure if it's totally, a surprise. They had no place to play. But I was fortunate enough to play against SFU. They were still in the Canada West my first 3 years with the Rams, and when they moved right away. And it's not always everyone looks at it as a football move, but they moved for the other 18 sports as well. But it's sad. SFU had such a big footprint on Canadian football. I work with two guys. I work with J.R. Davies, who's our running back coach, was a quarterback at SFU, and Brendan Mahoney, who we've talked about quite a bit already, was a receiver at SFU, an All-Canadian. So it's sad. There's lots of players that come through. Less football is always not a good thing. So, hopefully they can figure something out. I don't know if there is something to do, but I know there's a lot of proud alumni that are going to work really hard to find some sort of solution out there.
Dan Rashovich, Jacques Chapdelaine, two pretty good friends of mine, were roommates at SFU. I think Glenn Suter played there. It's a long list. And I'm sure you have seen, I don't know if you're a Twitter guy or not per se, but I've seen their players now out asking for opportunities.
Yeah.
That's hard.
That's tough to see, especially as a guy that went through it. I would hope that when I committed to Frank in 2007 that I wouldn't have had to look for a place to play a month later. So it'd be really hard. You're hoping you're going to some place for 4 years, 5 years. Things change once you're there, but when you leave grade 12 or whatever, grade high school, junior college, you're making a commitment to them as much as they're making a commitment to you, and you feel bad for anyone that was committed to play in the 2023 season, as well as the staff. Who knows what's going to happen with those guys.
Hang on, here come the questions. By the way, there are some writing in pertaining to the Winnipeg Jets and the Flames game last night. Hang on 10 minutes. Bernie Nicholls will be with us next. Mark is good enough to answer some football questions here. Ted in Red Deer says, "Hey, Mark, can a Canadian quarterback develop to play in the CFL if he plays Canadian college football?"
Yeah, I think absolutely. I think anytime you're playing, the resources are getting better every single year indoors. Like, look at Shoaldice here. You're able to have indoor practices 2 or 3 times a week, where, 10, 15 years ago, you're just waiting for the snow to melt, which, in Regina is May sometimes, right? So I think there's just, it absolutely you can. I think the football is a high quality. Guys go play professional football out of this Canadian college or U Sports. I almost called it CIS, but out of U Sports all the time. I think for sure you can, yeah.
Do you almost think it's a little overrated in that you look at the Nathan Rourke thing, I think he would have been great regardless. I mean, 1 week ago, Randy Chevrolet sat in that chair. He didn't start playing football till he was 18. He ended up playing for the Dallas Cowboys.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Nathan Rourke would have been great regardless. Would you agree or disagree?
Agreed. And he as you saw, he had a great year. And
yeah,
I'm looking forward to seeing him down south and having a great year down there. I think he's he's very driven, good player, good guy, great guy for the league. And I think everybody in Canada, the whole country's cheering for him.
Yeah. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says Marc Mueller is part of the succession plan in Calgary. What I find interesting about that is, did they tell you that?
Yeah, no. I don't know. Yeah, I think, when you're in football, you can have how many plans you want, but you got to win each week.
Yeah. But they don't sit you down and go, Mark, we got big plans for you. I don't think they do that.
No, you hopefully as a coach or a player, you do the job ahead of you, and hopefully you do a good job to get more work. That's the best way to get appreciated is more work. That's the best way to do it.
Your reward
is more work.
Is more work.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And you're fine with
That's what you want. That's what you want.
Beats the alternative of not having any work.
Correct.
I'll tell you what. I had this happen to me. The Alberta Country Music Association Awards were here on Sunday, and right here in Grey Eagle at the event center, and I had some people stop me, and they said, Rod, we're Ticats fans this year. And I said, why? Bo Levi's there. They were big fans of Bo. It's going to be different, I would think, in those, like really different, right? You don't know a Stamps without Bo Levi. Your rookie year was 2014.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's that going to be like?
I think it'll be different. I think it's different for everybody, but different for everybody is also a great opportunity for everybody. I think the guys that are going to step in with Jake, I think we're going to he's going to do a good job, and the guys will rally around him, or whoever's in there, Tommy, Chase, whoever we bring in. I think and Bo will be Bo out in Hamilton. He'll have a great season, and we hope he does. Right, just not when he plays us the one time, right? That's it. So I think it'll be different, but I think it'll be great for everybody, and I think it's a great opportunity for everybody.
The importance of weapons around a quarterback. What's hey Riley, what's the cupboards like there
for us?
Yeah,
I think we have a good team. I think we have a good team. I think it's a tough team. Our offensive line is, mostly back. We lost Julian Good-Jones to the Eagles, but the other four guys are back, and Bryce Bell, who was the sixth and started some games last year. And that's you win down the center, right? So I think we have really good offensive line. I think Pat is one of the best guys in the league at it as well. And I think we got a really good team. I think our defense will be able to get after guys a bit, up front. And we got good receivers. Malik Henry had a really great burst out year, and Reggie's been great every single time he's played since he got here in 2017. Every time he's on the field, he's made an impact, and we got lots of other good players as well. So I don't want to leave anybody out, but that's I think we got a good team.
Well, and when I talk about this show being different than the rest, I love having guys like you on. It's not just media pundits every day, and they have their benefits too. But I like to get your mindset. Like these power rankings come out, is my point, this week, and it was even the CFL said, way too early, just for fun, but here's our power rankings. And what I think you heard me saying it here earlier, Winnipeg 1, was BC 2, Calgary. Montreal was 9th, which I was personally offended by from my guy, Cody Fajardo. You know how much I love him. Great guy. What do you guys think when you see power rankings?
Yeah, I don't think you think much of them. It's good that we're doing stuff like that, because anytime
Yes.
you're in the media, it's a good sign. But I think that... honestly, sometimes you'd rather be lower in the offseason in case you get that little added motivation or something like that. But I think if you're looking for motivation for stuff like that, you're probably in the wrong business anyway. But it doesn't really matter, because all that anyone remembers is the power rankings at the end of the year. And that was Toronto at the end of 2022.
Right, so, but you'll see it. Right?
I think everybody sees it. No, I read CFL.ca or I read rodpedersen.com, right?
Yeah.
And stuff is like that's on there. So you see it, but you just try not to give too much attention to it.
Yeah. Well, it's, again, you make a good point. It's fun to talk about, but you say if you need motivation, and that Matthews always said that if you need motivation for this particular game, then you cheated me last week, da-da-da-da-da, yet maybe the greatest pregame speech in CFL history was 2008 Grey Cup, John Hufnagel.
Yeah.
Everybody's against this type thing. That comes up all the time. How When's the last time somebody brought up that speech to you? Because I hear it all the time here.
I think you see it almost every year around Grey Cup time. They play some sort of clip of it, right? So I remember being a young man, I guess I would have been in college at the time, watching it live and thinking, oh yeah, Calgary's going to win, you know, because it just something like that. It's cool when they let you in and see stuff like that, because it's not always, you don't always get as a fan, which I would have been in 2008.
Yes.
Still am a fan, obviously. I just work in the league, but it was an awesome moment. I think it's something that'll be forever. That'll be ran around Grey Cup time every year.
Well, and you can't do that every week, right? That's a special moment speech.
Yeah, I think so. Yes. Yeah, and unfortunately, I'm in the box, so even now I don't get to hear the pregame speech because I'm already upstairs. So I haven't, hopefully someday I'll be able to hear it, but not currently because I'm running up to the box getting a sweat on.
By the way, I want to, from Ryan in Saratoga, New York, he says, that's definitely a military mindset. Complete your mission and your reward is a more difficult mission. That's a fact. And I do so much work with the recovery, with the military in the recovery world, and you spend some time around those guys, changes your life. Ryan also says the offensive line is such an overlooked position group in terms of importance. If the O-line is healthy and sound, you can become unbeatable. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says you have the best O-line in the league. Al, watching on YouTube, says the O-line is one area where there is a large disparity between the NFL and CFL. Is that a fact? Would you agree with that or not?
No, I don't know.
I don't think that it is.
No, I don't think so either.
I'd like to talk to a Derek Dennis about that, or a lot of the guys that have gone back and forth.
I think if you're in between your guy and the ball, I think it's pretty common, NFL or CFL. But no, I think football's football. Other than the yard off, unless he's talking the yard off.
I was just going to say that.
It's complete. That's different.
So when you guys are doing these camps in the States and you're working out 100% Americans, you obviously must be doing the yard off the ball.
Yard off the ball, waggle, motion. So usually we have a little, about 10, 20 minutes where guys get loose again after testing. And basically that's all. The only time I spend is trying to teach the receivers how to do the waggle, because it's the number one advantage in the sport is the waggle. And if you understand how to do that, not just run straight or run looking at the ball, looking at your defender, you'll have success.
We also need to recall though. So you guys advertise, I assume, this camp's in this town's.
Yep.
Do the players pre-register?
Yeah, there's pre-registers, yes, and guys that can walk up.
So do you send them a little bit of an email of what to expect?
Yeah, it's on the website. We'd say, we're doing these tests. It's on turf or grass. We try to make sure that the guys can be as prepared as humanly possible to put their best foot forward, because it's a tryout or an opportunity for these guys to come play professional football.
Who is the best player you recall from a Stamps perspective that came to a camp and ended up being great?
So I've only been at a couple, or one a year for the last 3 or 4 years. And like Reggie Bagleton was at one. We had Mark Keith Ambles that was at one. Hugh Thornton, who played this past year. So there's guys at every single camp that end up playing for the Stampeders, which is what you want, because then guys will come.
For us, Nick Marshall would be one that I was specifically at. He's been outstanding for Saskatchewan. And then Sam McGuavin, Guavin is with the Dolphins now, was working at a Foot Locker, saw the ad, showed up.
That's crazy.
Rest is history.
Yeah.
So these are great, great, great stories. Well, Mark, this is always great. Thank you, man. Good luck, and let's keep in touch. And I'm going to hold you to that lunch that you promised.
Absolutely.
Your turn to buy.
I think it probably is, yeah. Well, if Larry comes to town, maybe we could force him to buy. I think he's behind by a few.
Marc Mueller, thank you.
Thanks so much, Rod.
Quarterbacks coach of the Calgary Stampeders, a member of football's first family, Marc Mueller. When we come back, Bernie Nicholls, the NHL ambassador for our exclusive betting partner, Bet Regal. It is a football Thursday, heading into Easter weekend, live on Game Plus Television, YouTube Live, and WQEE, The Key.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
I'm Bridget Lacroix. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
All right, welcome back to the RP Show on a Thursday, our last show of the week. We're live from Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. There's a good look at it. Calgary's entertainment destination. Huge win for the Calgary Flames last night. 3-1 at the Winnipeg Jets. It's pulled them even heading into the final week of the regular season for the final playoff spot. Did you say we have Bernie Clark? Sorry, I didn't have my earpiece in. All right, let's go. NHL ambassador for Bet Regal, the great Bernie Nicholls joins us today to talk about some NHL. Hey, Bernie, it's been far too long. We'll call this Weekend at Bernie's. What a races on both sides. How much fun is this end of the regular season?
Yeah, really, it's really exciting. Like last night for Calgary, I cheer for Calgary mainly because of Daryl Sutter. Winnipeg, you just never know what you're going to get, right? Like the first part of the season, they were one of the best teams in the league, and they're struggling down the stretch. Pittsburgh on the other side, I want so bad for them to get in. They're going to be tough. That race there with Tampa and the Islanders. So it's exciting. That's a hockey fan. That's what you want. You want the excitement coming down the stretch before playoffs.
It for sure, and it's interesting you say that about pulling for Daryl Sutter because the hockey people all are. But you would not believe the heat in this city on him, Bernie. And I get it. I mean, the team's underperformed. They shouldn't be in this position because if they miss the playoffs, there may or may not be a change. Has the game changed in your mind to where it's harder to motivate these players or pull them together? Because that's the issue. The Flames have clearly underperformed. Who's at fault? I don't know, but they shouldn't be in this position.
Well, I think you always... The people will always say, or the coaches will always get fired. As a former player, I didn't need to be motivated. If you're underperforming as a team, that's the players, in my opinion. They're the ones that are at fault here. It's not the coach. Your coach can only give you so much direction, and if you don't follow it, then, shame on you. So to me, when a team underperforms, the coach is the one that always gets fired, I guess, right? But it's the players. The players it shouldn't take you any to motivate you now this time of year getting to try to make the playoffs. So to me, I'm defending Darryl all day long. It's the players that have underperformed, and they should be taking full responsibility for that.
I'm with you, but it's been an uphill argument against the media and the fans in this town. You know how that is. I see you're thinking. What are you thinking about before I move on to the Leafs? Or are you just listening?
No, just listening.
Okay, so the Leafs tonight, we got to talk about Toronto. Your favorite team. We're airing on a Toronto television station right now. Game Plus are anchored out of Toronto. They got Boston there, or at least they're playing Boston. Ryan O'Reilly comes back. What's your take on the Leafs heading into the playoffs, and they're going to face Tampa?
Well, I think for once in a long time, they're going to advance. I think that they should beat Tampa. But the problem is Tampa has the best goalie. And when you got a great goalie, you have an opportunity to win every night. They got a team that's been there before. So that'll be the toughest part for Toronto. It's just kind of getting over that hump. You have to believe that you can beat a team. And when you haven't beat them, that's tough. I think for Boston should be their second round opponent. And, Boston just come off a long road trip. So it's such a tough, that first game back is so tough. So I would bet Toronto tonight for sure. I don't know what Toronto, like obviously you say O'Reilly's back, which will help. Whether Toronto's going to bring their full guys, if they're going to rest anybody else, or if they're going to try to show Boston that, you know what, we're going to meet you in the second round and this is what you can expect. That's going to be a great series. I truly believe they're going to meet in the second round, and that may be the best series of all.
Okay, so last I looked, and I think this has changed, Boston was lined up against Florida. Who knows how it's going to shake down? I believe Florida can clinch with a win on Saturday, which who would have believed that? And I apologize, we're jumping all over. The viewers and listeners have a ton of questions for you, Bernie. But with Boston, let me say this, best regular season potentially ever in NHL history. Any chance that changes in the playoffs? Because as you know, it's a new season.
Yeah, that's a kiss of death right there. I don't know how many President's Trophy winners have won the Cup. I know the year I was with the Kings when they met Vancouver first round President's Cup winner, they knocked them off. The year the Ducks won the Cup, they met San Jose first round President's Cup winner, they knocked them off. It's so tough, right? Because they put everything into this regular season, which was great. They have an opportunity to do something that's, only Montreal Canadiens have done it. So I can understand going there. They got to get prepared for the playoffs. That's a different animal. I truly believe they'll beat Florida, no problem. Their toughest goal will be the second round, and I'm thinking it's Toronto. But like we've said before, Boston's always had Toronto's number 2. So there's another obstacle that Toronto got to get, just mind-wise, right? Like we can't beat Boston either. So it's there for Toronto. I think they got an opportunity to do real well this year if they get good goaltending. And for the most part, the goalies have played pretty well this year for them. So it's going to be interesting. It's definitely going to be Toronto, Boston in the second round, and it should be a good one.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's interesting you say that. And we've been in Calgary now 23 weeks, Bernie, where, believe it or not, they do love you, even though you did, you torched the Flames time after time after time. And what the viewers to our show are saying, we love your show because you got Bernie Nicholls and Ron Duguay and these guys. Colin Pedersen was on here the other day, okay? As you know, Stanley Cup champion, 89 Flames. And he's a Leaf guy, to a degree, because he's from Rexdale, Ontario. And he said that he thinks the pressure on the Leafs, especially opening at home, will be so immense. So my question off that, Bernie, is kind of two-pronged. If they just won a round would that get people off their back in Kyle Dubas's? Or is it Stanley Cup or bust?
No, they definitely have to win a round. Winning the Stanley Cup obviously would be huge, but I mean, they meet Boston in the second round. The guys in the West would be who I'd be afraid of anyways. To me, the West is still the best, but they just need to get by one round. I think if they can get by one round, I think everybody's job's safe. If they don't, I don't know how they don't dismantle the whole team.
Right, and you got a general manager on an expiring contract. But I want to remind our viewers, because Bernie's been doing this with us for a long time. He's the exclusive NHL ambassador to Bet Regal. You called Colorado as the Stanley Cup champion last year, and I'm just going to be the fly in the ointment here. They didn't have Bernie Perrant in goal. They had Darcy Kemper. So anything can happen, right?
No, absolutely anything can happen. Not very often you don't get good goaltending when you do win the Stanley Cup, and he did what he had to do, which is great. Colorado is just so deep; they're so fast, and the same with this year. To me, they're still the favorites to win because they are the defending Stanley Cup champs, and some of the kids they got in their team are, as a team, they're just so fast. But I think, you know, when you got Connor McDavid on your team, as well as Edmonton's playing, that I think they're heading for a shootout there too. I think they're going to meet somewhere along the line, and that's going to be unbelievable. So, but you're right. Goaltending is key. Kemper did play pretty well. He's having a good year this year again, but they didn't have the elite goalies of the league, which I think you do need.
Sure, and that's the thing. This is just a Thursday coffee discussion here. By no means an argument, but if it was easy to figure this out, everybody would do it, right? But I know you were high on the Oilers last year, and in Edmonton, Bernie, they think they're better this year than last year. Would you go along with that?
Yeah, if they can get decent goaltending, which they do have, you know, McDavid, like that team has played so well. McDavid's played so well. Adding the big defenseman is huge. Draisaitl's had an unbelievable year. You know, as a team, they're deeper than they've ever been, and I think they're as good as, you know, it should be them in Colorado in coming out of the West, because I just think with Connor, it's just, he did it last year. He put the team on his back last year, and I think this year they're better, so he's going to get some help. Whether it's enough to get by Colorado, I think those two are heading to meet in the semifinal.
Jeff from Winnipeg writes in and says, Bernie is spot on with the you don't know what you're going to get with Winnipeg. LOL. Well, you can laugh about that, Jeff, but I don't think Chevy's laughing, or Rick Bonus. What's your thoughts on the Winnipeg Jets and just the season they've had? Because they were flying, Bernie, 35,000 feet all year, and then boop, right near the end. That's hard to explain.
Yeah. The dog days of winter got them, I think, but, and I don't know. And I know Rick Bonus is pulling his hair out, because it's tough when you see a team do so well, and sometimes it's smoke and mirrors, you know, but I didn't think it was with them. They got a talented group of guys, great goaltending, some great leadership up front. So they're going to be a dangerous team, though. They do have as much talent as most teams in the league, and if their goalie gets hot, they can do good things. But like you say, we got to get there first, and they are well coached. I think Rick's as good a coach as any. So they're a team that you cheer for, too, because of Rick and some guys they got. So, you know, I think they'll get there, and they could be tough.
Let me ask you this, Bernie. Of the teams you played for and you spent the most time in L.A., which one do you keep your most eye on right now? Because the Rangers are great. The Kings are great. We just talked about the Oilers. What's the one team that you really identify with and are kind of root for the most?
Oh, it's probably LA, just because I spent the most time, but all the teams I played for, like New Jersey right now, Lindy Ruff, I actually played with Lindy, right? So you cheer for them. Rangers, played there, cheer for them. I'll always look, you know, Canadian team with the Oilers. I've always had a soft spot for them. I cheer for them to do well, and then with Connor and just as good as they're playing right now, you really cheer. And LA, for a team, they've rebuilt from their Stanley Cup years, and they've got a really good team right now, and it's fun to watch, and it's fun to see that the team come together as well as have. They get rid of Quickie, and the other goalies played unbelievable. So you cheer for that. I always cheer for Quick too, right? Like he went to Vegas. I always want to see him well because I went on a run with him and watched him do great things for my team. So, I cheer for guys I played with or been around and just teams I played for. So we got some good ones. Rangers are doing great. Devils are doing great. Oilers doing great. The Kings. So I've got a pretty good group of teams that I can cheer for.
Of course. And, I was watching the Kings the other night, and I was cheering for Edmonton, but Todd McClellan I cheer for coaches, and Todd McClellan was on the Kings bench, and I'm like, I'm just so happy for Todd that he's turned it around there. He's a Melville guy. He's had a tough go in the NHL, and I'm happy for him. But Chicago's a team you rarely mention. I saw them here in Calgary the other night, and I'm like, I don't know who any of these guys are for the most part, other than Austin Wagner. Was Lauren Mulliken your coach in Chicago when you were there?
Lauren was there. There's another team. I think they're hoping for a number one draft choice to turn that franchise back around because it's such a great franchise. I kind of felt bad for Jonathan Toews because I really think that if he was healthy at the trade deadline, he probably would have went to a team to have another chance for a Stanley Cup. Him and Kane were such a big part of the Hawks and when they were winning. So I cheer for him too, a Canadian boy that is just the ultimate team leader and great person. So I just think they're looking for that number one pick to try to get to rebuild with that guy, which obviously would be a good one to rebuild with.
Yeah. It was a treat to watch Jonathan Toews here in Calgary the other night, out taking the draw with a minute to go in a 1-goal lead. He's still that guy. And but, hey, next time you come back, maybe we'll talk about your time with the Blackhawks because Lauren Mulliken's a really close friend of mine, and he said that your goalie coach back then was Vladislav Tretiak. And he used to say, Lorny, discipline, discipline. Because you guys were a goon show. Anyways, we're out of time. Bernie, thank you. Enjoy the hockey. Happy Easter. And let's do it again soon.
Absolutely, Rod. Good talking to
you. The great Broadway Bernie Nicholls joining us to talk NHL. And the next time we got to talk about the Bernie Nicholls Foundation, too. They're doing great things. We'll be right back to Grey Eagle Resort and Casino after this timeout on Game Plus Television, YouTube Live, and WQEE 99.1 FM and the Fringe Radio Network.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Casino fancy. Lot of sun, smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time. I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
beat. I gotta hit the beat.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Heading into Easter weekend in the foothills. Thanks for joining us, everybody, on your favorite daytime sports talk show. And now it's just you and me for the rest of the way. So if you want to reach me here at Grey Eagle Resort and Casino, we're on the stage bar for the next 20 minutes. 902-518-3033 is the number to text, and we've got quite a few there. If you're watching on the streaming, you can write in there. A sports update on this Friday, and because we've been so busy with live guests, I haven't really got to much of that. A record 4 Canadians tee off today in the first round of the Masters in Augusta, Georgia. Corey Connors of Listowel, Ontario, who's coming off a win at the Texas Open last weekend, headlines the Canadian contingent, which also includes Mackenzie Hughes of Dundas, Ontario, Adam Svensson of Surrey, BC, and 2003 Masters champion Mike Weir of Brights Grove, Ontario. But here's the thing. If you really cared about that, you're probably over watching the Masters right now. You want to talk about other stuff, like maybe the Blue Jays, who wrap up their 4-game series against the Royals this afternoon in Kansas City. After stumbling out of the gate at 1-3 to start the year, the Blue Jays have won 2 straight, and they look to make it a third as Kevin Gausman takes the mound. Gausman pitched 6 scoreless innings in his season debut last week. The Women's World Hockey Championship is back in action today in Brampton, Ontario, but defending champion Canada is off today after winning its opening game against Switzerland 4-0. The Canadians will meet Czechia Friday night in their second game of the tournament. And what many of you are waiting for, there are 14 games in the NHL tonight. Toronto plays league-leading Boston in Boston, and Leafs center Ryan O'Reilly returns from a 14-game absence. Montreal hosts Washington on its annual Pride Night, and Ottawa visits Florida with its playoff hopes hanging by a thread. Later, 25th place Vancouver takes on 30th place Chicago. I do have some thoughts on all of that in a moment, but I will tell you that normally we would say for our sponsor, Landmark Cinemas, enter to win a movie night out at Landmark Cinemas for movie lovers only. But we've awarded 2 today, and Morgan, our office manager, has told me who they are. Are you ready? You got a sound effect for this? Blake Bowden and Chad Bieber.
Hot damn.
Yeah, that'll work. Blake Bowden and Chad Bieber, you're going to the movie.
How about that?
courtesy Landmark Cinemas and The Rod Pedersen Show. Sign up for Landmark Extras now and see what's playing at landmarkcinemas.com, like Fast X in theaters May 19th. Over many missions and against impossible odds, Dom Toretto, played by Vin Diesel, and his family have outsmarted, outnerved, and outdriven every foe in their path. Now they confront the most lethal opponent they've ever faced, a terrifying threat emerging from the shadows of the past, who's fueled by blood revenge and who is determined to shatter this family and destroy everything and everyone that Dom loves forever. That's Fast X. Is that Fast 10? Am I saying that right? In theaters, May 19th, courtesy our friends at Landmark Cinemas. So I'm fascinated in a lot of ways on the Pride Night phenomenon in the National Hockey League. And without trying to start a holy war here, if you watch this show every day on whatever various platform you do, you'll know that I support LGBT fully. Friends, family, in that community. And we're just inclusive with the show, period. But I almost wonder if the NHL wishes they had not gone down this road. I'm not saying they regret it or that they are, changed their mind. The NHL wants to be inclusive too. And there was a story that hit the wire here about, is it one of the Habs that isn't going to wear the Pride jersey? I just wonder if they wish they hadn't done this. Too late now. They're leaning into it, as Moose says. Montreal's wearing their Pride jerseys. The Jets did last night. We do have breaking news. As I'm looking up that story, there's breaking news from the NHL office. Alex Killorn of the Tampa Bay Lightning and Adam Fox of the New York Rangers were fined $5,000 each for separate slashing incidents in the team's game at MSG last night. The NHL's Department of Player Safety announced the supplemental discipline today. Killorn was fined for spearing Rangers goalie Igor Shesterkin midway through the second period. Fox was fined for slashing Lightning winner Corey Perry a few minutes earlier. The $5,000 amount is the maximum allowed under the league and player union's collective bargaining agreement. Each player was penalized for slashing on the play. The feisty game, won by the Rangers 6-3, featured 4 fights and 80 combined penalty minutes, which, by the way, I was watching. You get it. You get it. I was watching SportsCenter this morning, and they said this, 80 penalty minutes. I've called games and watched games from the 80s and 90s where there was over 250 penalty minutes. 80 is nothing. 80 is a Sunday skate. Anyways, New York and Tampa Bay met in the Eastern Conference Final last year. Both have qualified for the playoffs this season, but could not meet until the third round. And that's just what happened in New York. Did you watch the Jets and the Flames? Luchik's got his stick up in a guy's face. It was a war in Winnipeg last night. And to be honest, we had the sports doctor on here on Tuesday, and we said, is this where we're going to learn what the Jets are made of? And the Jets weren't terrible, but they lost a goaltending battle to Jacob Markstrom and the Flames. The Flames quite simply wanted it more. And the thing is, Rick Bowness will go back and look at the tape of that game last night and realize Calgary could have been had because Calgary didn't play a perfect game either. That's the way the Wiener rolls. And now 3 games left for the Flames, 4 for the Jets, and they're tied. Ooh. Hey, here we go. Chad Bieber writes in regarding winning. He says, awesome. My 11-year-old son was wanting to go see the new Super Mario Brothers movie.
Approved.
How about that?
How about that?
And Blake writing in with a thank you as well. Regarding those CFL power rankings that came out, and aren't those fun? And even the CFL, I'll give those guys and gals credit that they knew what they were doing when they posted that earlier this week. They knew that it was going to tick people off. I don't understand how they can do it, but I can't tick people off. All of a sudden, I'm the biggest jerk ever, but whatever. But Dougal Cameron here in Calgary writes in, he's watching on Game Plus TV, and he says, no way the Argos should rank ahead of the Stamps. Quarterbacks and the Stamps are not in the same league. Thank you, Clark, as Toronto. Dinwiddie took a lot of Stamps with him. And those are the power rankings. He's saying there's no way, I don't know if he's agreeing with it. He says there's no way the Stamps should be ahead of the Argos. He thinks the Argos are better. Do I have that right, Dougal? That was a fun discussion earlier. We got into it way, you can leave that up for a second, Clark. We got way rather deep into that with Moose in hour one. He's in Los Angeles. My Montreal Alouettes are rated the 9th team in the CFL. What? My beloved Montreal Alouettes. And Clark, do you have any idea where that Alouettes jersey is that was in the bunker? Remember that one? You would have no idea. It's a Manziel jersey, as I recall. We got to dig that sucker out. We'll be coming right back with overtime. Again, bring it on. You want to talk dub playoffs? I'm more than happy with that too. I haven't jumped into the streaming comments here, so I will now. Nelson, what is it? Tell me. I'm a little out of touch. Bear with me. I'm old. We're live from Grey Eagle Resort and Casino on Game Plus Television, YouTube, and 99.1 FM WQEE, the Fringe Radio Network.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
beat. I gotta hit the beat.
Smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time. Big
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
All right, this is it. Clark tells me 6.5 minutes left in this segment. That's nothing. It would take me 6.5 minutes to breathe in and out.
LFG.
Let's do it. Overtime is brought to you by the Four Seasons Sports Palace, where they air every Regina Pats game on their video wall. They're home for the National Hockey League and the UFC. Check them out. Best boneless dry ribs in the world. I'm not joking. Viewer takeover. Thank you, Nelson, for telling me it's Fast 10. How am I supposed to know? I was never into the Fast and Furious movies at all. But that's not to say I won't go. But that's for the popcorn and the hot dog. Okay, we got some gooders. From the text line, 902-518-3033, Mandy in Edmonton writes in, where we're very popular in Edmonton. I don't understand why more Edmonton viewers and listeners don't write in, because you have the analytics. You're all watching. Write in. Thankfully, Mandy does, and she says, happy the world and sports are becoming more inclusive. Oh, boy. How much time you say we had, Clark? I could spend 2 hours on that. I mean, I'm happy too, but are they? In a way, you feel like it's just exposing more hate. But I'll say this again, hockey, football should be for everybody. And I guess if you've ever felt excluded, you would know it doesn't feel very good. Come on in. It feels good. I think that's why I could go down this road so much. Like my personal counselor, had been attending 12-step meetings via Zoom in Canada from Florida all winter. And my counselor goes, you need to get out and go to some meetings in Florida in person. So I did. In the first place, before I walked into a room and two guys turned, looked at me, smiled ear to ear. Welcome, you're in the right place. That feels good. Instead of, you're not welcome here, which I know how that feels too. I'll take the first. Come on into our hockey arena. Come on into our stadium. Come watch our show. You're all welcome. How is this so hard for people to figure out? I don't get it. Brian in Beausejour, Manitoba, writes in on the 902 line. He says, Winnipeg Ice, sweep. Ice, ice, baby. They may be a better watch than the Jets, LOL. I really like watching the Winnipeg Ice. Always have. Marc Mueller here asked if they're going to get that arena situation figured out in Winnipeg. I'm like, I don't know. Don't have the answers to everything. I hope that they do, but let them answer that. Shoot, we're not even supposed to talk about it. Dougal Cameron in Calgary again. You'll all remember him by his name, Dougal. It's so distinctive. Says, yes, Rod, I rank the Argos ahead of the Stampeders. This due to an unproven quarterback for the starters for Calgary. I do get it, and I write it down. I'm not sure that I will ever, per se, become a fan of any CFL team over another. But do we think John Hufnagel, Dave Dickinson, and Marc Mueller don't know what they're doing when it comes to the quarterback position? Craig Campbell from the Hockey Hall of Fame. Thanks for another great show. Thank you, Craig, for tuning in. It has been fun having it. And I thank the viewers, the audience for that. Bernie Nicholls, Marc Mueller, and our fabulous crew. Here's one. This is great. Number one, Ryan O'Radio. And Ryan, thank you for allowing me to tune into your show today. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I actually did it from the gym. Ryan O'Radio, I watched his show streaming. from WQEE. He says, another great show. Happy Easter, Rod and crew. Yes, happy Easter, and remember the reason for the season, please. Al Bundy writes in, I wonder if it's the real Al Bundy. He said, could a CFL team beat a team like the Georgia Bulldogs? I would say yes. AB3, Arlen Bruce, you answer that better than me. I would say yes, because they're pro, that team's college. It's men against boys. I believe that, but I'm not married to that idea. Arlen says, Turks and Caicos is now the 11th province in Canada. Does Canada put an NHL, CFL, NBA, or NFL team there? Turks and Caicos? No. Why would you say Turks and Caicos of all places? How about Mexico? Turks and Caicos. Why there of all places? Do they have an arena? Do they have a stadium, maybe? You know how this goes. I'm waiting for an answer. Because I remember we talked to Chris Jones about this, and he laughed. Chris Jones, and he was like, a CFL team would beat the Alabama Crimson Tide because it's pro ball players. Last minute of play in the RP show today. I'm going to say yes, they would beat a college team. Nelson says the Regina Pats' inability to build a well-rounded team is biting them in the butt. Regina has more talent. Saskatoon is the better team. Pats looked dogged in games 3 and 4. Hey, it's 2-2 going back to Saskatoon. Who said the series wasn't over when it was 2-0? This guy. Fun to watch. Great for the WHL. Great for the game. Not so great for the Pats right now. Ryan in New York. Have a great weekend, everyone. Enjoy your time with your respective families. Same to you, Ryan. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for making us your favorite daytime sports talk show. And we'll see you Monday. Gosh knows what will happen by then. Happy Easter.
Who has more fun than us?